Mason Greenwood has spent the season on loan in Getafe in La Liga, and he's had a productive spell there on the pitch. But with John Murtough and Matt Hargreaves visiting Spain and Barcelona and Madrid this week, questions are being asked. Will Greenwood be sold this summer, or will he return to United? And there's a lot to understand around this, so let's begin. What Manchester United decide to do with Mason Greenwood this summer is a significant decision that has to be taken. He was sent out on loan to Getafe, so the decision didn't really need to be made. This summer it does. Now, I know this is going to be splitting opinions, and please be as polite as you can in the comments. Do you think that Greenwood will play for Manchester United again? It's a conversation that we've had before, but it's a conversation we are going to have again after some developments. I'm going to run through what's happened this week with Murtough and Hargreaves being out in Barcelona and Madrid and meeting the clubs. Are they interested in signing Mason Greenwood? I'll explain it all here. Right, Mason Greenwood, so far this season, has enjoyed a productive football loan spell at Getafe, right? 8 goals, 5 assists in 26 appearances across the Liga and in the Copa del Rey. He's enjoyed himself from a footballing perspective. And the reason that it's back in the spotlight this week is because of this, right? So that's John Murtough and that's Matt Hargreaves, and that's them in Barcelona meeting with Deco, who is Barcelona's sporting director, and also some agents, CAA based. You can see the names there, Frank Jambrelli and Fede Masai. I'm going to run through who they represent there. Now, ESPN are reporting that this is part of a wider sort of drive from Manchester United to try and get ahead this window, this summer, right? Murtough and Hargreaves going out and doing some of the foundation work, if per se. So they met with Barcelona, right? They met with Deco, and I'll speak about that next. They also met with Atletico Madrid, also met with Real Madrid. So plenty of groundwork. Now, Deco, I don't personally think that Hargreaves and Murtough are going to be given any major responsibility, like looking at making any sort of signing, right? So we go down here, we look at this. Frankie de Jong, I don't think we're going to be looking at him. Contracts running out. There's nobody else you really could be speaking about that would make a massive difference at United. I don't think so anyway. What about the agency? Are there any players there that represent Barcelona or Manchester United that could be part of these conversations? And not really, right? You've got Rafael Varane, but he's on a free transfer this summer, so I don't really think that's part of the conversation. So what about Mason Greenwood? Would Barcelona be interested in signing him? Not according to Fabrizio Romano. They're saying that Barcelona are not interested in any sort of deal for Mason Greenwood, and ESPN have reported the same thing. So then we move on to the next conversation, because not only were they in Barcelona, but John Murtough and Matt Hargreaves also went to Madrid. Now we go back, as I said, to the ESPN article, and it says right there that they met with Atletico Madrid on Tuesday. You can't see that. Atletico Madrid on Tuesday, and they're going to be meeting Real Madrid too. So they're doing a full round, really, of all the big clubs in Spain. And of course, there's another club that exists right next to Madrid. Getafe. Now, what do Getafe want to do with Mason Greenwood? They want him to stay. They've kind of made it abundantly clear, and given the fruitful loan spell that he has had there from a purely footballing perspective, of course they want him to stay. This is what the Getafe president actually said, because he is very comfortable in Madrid. He's crazy about the idea of staying in another year. It's a question for United. They have to decide if he goes back there. And it was when it was suggested that United would not want Greenwood back, saying, no, there is a market for him in Spain, but it depends on money, and it depends on Manchester United, and it depends on the decision, ultimately, of Jim Ratcliffe. And again, that's where there's, that's what this, I wouldn't say it's a developing, I suppose it is a developing story, because Jim Ratcliffe was speaking about Mason Greenwood in his full interview that he gave, his first full interview. And this is what he said. He said, it's a fresh decision when asked about Mason Greenwood. I can talk about the principle. I'm not going to talk about Mason Greenwood directly. I'm familiar with it. The principle is the important one. We will have other issues going forward. You are dealing with young people who have not always been brought up in the best circumstances, who have a lot of money, and they don't always have the guidance they should have. What we need to do when we have issues like this is understand real effects, not the hype. Then we need to make a fair decision in light of all the club's values. That's what we need to do, and that's how we will deal with it. So when that comment came out, a lot of people saw that as that's Ratcliffe opening the door for Mason Greenwood to return to the club. Not as a definite yes, not as a definite no, but opening the door. And I would agree with that. it's a warm response in that sense. But do you think that Mason Greenwood should play for the club again? Because I've been pretty clear with my opinion on this the whole way through, and you might not be surprised to find out that my opinion hasn't changed. My opinion won't be changed by anything that happens on this loan spell at Getafe. He could go in banging 30 goals. It wouldn't change my opinion. I was reading United We Stand this week in the Gutter Snipe section. There was a little snippet on the fact that a couple of big clubs, one in northern Italy, I think it was really interested in signing Mason Greenwood in the summer that's just gone, until they heard the audio tape. And as soon as that happened, nope, distance, gone. Now, there's going to be people all in the comments going, well, if Getafe want to, why is it that Getafe can do that and give him a second chance and Manchester United can't? And I don't care what Getafe do. I don't care if Atletico Madrid want to sign him. I don't care if Real Madrid want to sign him. Or Barcelona. That's what those clubs can do. All I care about is what Manchester United do. And my position hasn't changed. And it won't change. I don't think he should be returning to Manchester United. I think we should be. Do you remember seeing that mad article? I can't remember who it was. There was an article that suggested that Manchester United need to sell Mason Greenwood and are not allowed to spend any penny of that money. That it will be completely immoral to do that. And I was like, that is some stretch. But I think Manchester United should be selling Mason Greenwood this summer, moving him on, and we close the book on that. And I'll be honest, I think this decision should have already been taken. I think it kind of felt like it was like kicking the can down the road when we loaned him out to Getafe. Maybe it was at that point in time because he hadn't played football for so long, it was going to be very difficult to find a club for him on a permanent basis, and that conversation would have been more difficult. That's now not as difficult. Not after a fruitful loan spell. I don't think Greenwood will be short of suitors, right? And nor should he be from a footballing perspective. But when you take in the wider context of everything, and people are like, he's innocent, Sam. There is a very big difference between a case being dropped and innocence. I know what I heard. It wasn't doctored. And nothing will change that. And some people try, second chance this, second chance that. Yeah, that isn't a blanket rule. And in my opinion, for what look, Jim Ratcliffe there said about the values of the club, the values of Manchester United. For that reason, I don't want Mason Greenwood to play for the club again. And my position on that won't change, no matter how many goals he scores in Getafe. Now, I know that not everyone's going to agree on that, but can you just let me know in the comments, right? 2 questions. Number 1, what do you think will happen? And number 2, what do you want to happen with Mason Greenwood?